Welcome back to my channel, y'all. You know, when the Democrats was in office, they didn't talk about the Epstein files, period, at all. But when Trump got in office, now they want to bring it up. They're saying, release the Epstein files, release the files, release the files, release the files. Well, Trump did release the files, and guess which party member name is on there? Hakeem Jefferson, or the dollar store Barack Obama. His name's on there. He been funding Epstein for a good while. And there's a lot more Democrats on that list than Republicans. People won. Yep. Here you go. Be careful what you wish for. Here's the comments. Be careful what you wish for, Akeem. Chuck the Fundamental never answered the question. Did a 180. They are all involved. That's very true. Here's one. I believe our president of the United States, Donald Trump, has been playing games with the Democrats, acting like he didn't want to turn over the files. So once you got them, bite harder like a fish on a hook. He told Pam Bondi, the DOJ, to release him, knowing that there's a lot of stuff in there about the Democrats. He just hooked them. So yeah. But let's get into the video, shall we? And one more thing. All y'all people who voted for Democrats, I suggest y'all better think twice. Into the video.
Bro, back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got the dollar store Obama, leader of the Dems, Hakeem Jeffries' entire political career getting flushed down the drain after a new leak proves that he took bribes from Jeffrey Epstein, guys. I'm excited to get into this one, so we're not straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, top straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
On Epstein, the president also just said a short time ago that he might be willing to sign this measure if it clears both chambers. If that is the case, are you comfortable with whatever information is in the Epstein files if it involves or potentially implicates Democrats?
Donald Trump appears to have chickened out on the Epstein scandal. He's caved. It's a complete and total surrender. Because as Democrats, we made clear from the very beginning, the survivors and the American people deserve full and complete transparency as it relates to the lives that were ruined by Jeffrey Epstein, who was a monster, and all of those folks who were dealing with him, the wealthy and the well-off, and people who are going to be exposed. In full transparency. That's been our commitment from the very beginning, and it's closer to happening this week. The House will act decisively, the Senate needs to act, and Donald Trump just needs to step out of the way and let the chips fall where they may.
Alright, folks, that's Hakeem Jeffries' story, and he's sticking to it. Says that President Donald Trump has chickened out on releasing the files, and he demands full transparency. Well, I agree with him on one thing. We definitely need some transparency in this situation. We beg of it, but as far as President Donald Trump chickening it out, I'm not sure that's the case. This right here is President Donald Trump when asked about releasing the Epstein files. Take a look.
You're going to second. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files.
As usual, our President Donald Trump does not mince any words. He's not going to beat around the bush when it comes to defending his character or to calling out these very sick individuals on the left, because we can't forget Epstein was a Democrat after all. So you have to look out who was benefiting from him, who he was donating to, who was donating to him, and who was receiving these favors. I mean, let's be real with ourselves. And another thing that really blows my mind is the fact that they waited so long. They waited all the way till President Donald Trump was in office to spark up this whole controversy to say that it's Trump that's not releasing the files. I want you guys to take a look at Schumer. After a reporter asked him, after all this time, why has Biden not released? Why didn't Biden release the files if Trump was going to be implicated? It would have made the most sense, right?
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Or not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
And I'll tell you guys what, Chuck Schumer better choose his next words very wisely, because if he knows the Dems like we know the Dems, they are already looking for his replacement. They're going to start gunning for his seat, because they take kind to folks who are not on board with their messaging, not behind their movement every step of the way. And now Chuck Schumer is questioning Joe Biden and what he's been doing for the last 4 years. When we all know the Dems, they want us to just magically forget what happened the last 4 years with Joe Biden. But it just doesn't make sense. You have to ask the question, if you guys want to push for the Epstein files released so bad because you knew President Donald Trump was in it, what do you think that his nemesis, Joe Biden, or at least Kamala Harris, would have released them to, the end-all, be-all, to expose President Donald Trump? It just doesn't make sense. So I'm with Chuck Schumer here. What are they hiding? What have they been hiding? Well, it's all coming out now, folks, on this leaked email from the office of Hakeem Jeffries over to Mr. Epstein. It says, "Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation. Sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Obama, he is a staunch supporter of President Obama and a progressive voice for the people of New York City. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democratic majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in the fundraising dinner with President Obama this coming Monday." Wow. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved with the dinner or would like to get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. He is an impressive guy and a guy who will be a progressive voice in New York politics for years to come. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, talk about a bombshell right there. Hakeem Jeffries is looking for transparency, but well, this right here tells everything we need to know. This guy has been asking for favors, connected, linked in with this guy Jeffrey Epstein, while all the while trying to play the good guy, saying that it's President Donald Trump. Oh my, you really can't make this kind of stuff, but this stuff writes itself. And this is exactly what the Democratic Party has been doing for decades. They do one thing and they point the finger to the other side of the aisle and say it's them. It's these folks who are lying, gaslighting, and trying to manipulate you. Get this nonsense out of here. But that's not the worst of it. I want you guys to take a look at this. This is actual footage of Representative Stacey Plaskett being coached by Jeffrey Epstein on the House floor on what to say.
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign, or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump Organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is that.
There you go. All these years, the Democrats had the Epstein files. But when Trump got in office, they still want to raise a hand about it. They had the Epstein files all this time. They didn't do nothing about it until Trump got in office. Do you see the pattern that's coming out? They do everything they want to do wrong, but when Republicans in office, they want to point the finger at the Republicans. But a lot of people out there are brain dead that voted for Democrats still gonna believe them. Why? It's easier to swallow a lie than stand with the truth. Y'all rather be ostriches, have your head in the ass ground, and Diddy could come around and fuck y'all in the ass and say it was an earthquake. Here's a Confederate saying I use all the time. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's fucking raining. Anyway. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was buddies with Kamala Haim. And it is getting bad. Not only that, there's a lot more information about Bill Clinton too. So yeah, we're going to get in that as well. But back to the video, shall we?
Directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
Absolutely unbelievable stuff that we're seeing coming from the Dems. They've been begging for this. You gotta be careful what you wish for, because it might actually come back to haunt you. They didn't think the Republicans would ever do this. We got Jeffrey Epstein reaching out and actually coaching a Democrat, Stacey Plaskett, during a committee hearing. He starts off saying, bring up Runa, the keeper of the secrets. And even Stacey Plaskett doesn't know who he's referring to. She says Runa with 2 question marks, and then follows it up with a text rushing him to respond saying, quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym or something? Like, who is that? And then Epstein responds saying that's his assistant. That's Trump's assistant, Rona. And once she brings it up to Mr. Cohen and she gets the line of questioning correct, he then responds saying, hey, a pat on the back. Good job. I love the work that you're doing. You couldn't make this stuff up, even if you tried to. The Dems, all along, they've been blaming the right, but it looks like there is someone else at fault here. This is absolutely unacceptable. And then you ask yourself, well, what did they say? What was their explanation for why she was receiving these tips from Epstein during a committee hearing? Well, let's listen to what Miss Stacey Plaskett had to say.
You don't want to talk about what is really happening here. Your attacks on working families, your protection of powerful predators and corporate criminals. You want to talk about texting felons? How often do you text President Donald J. Trump? That's the individual we should be concerned about.
This is exactly what they're referring to when they say that comedy writes itself. You're telling me that you've been caught red-handed, but now it's somehow still President Donald Trump's fault. Makes no sense whatsoever. All I can think about is if the shoe were on the other foot. Oh my goodness. This would be bombshell news all over every legacy media outlet. ABC, CNN, you name it, MSDNC, they would be covering this, and now her constituents are rallying behind her, saying that she's just taking a phone call, just making a couple of texts. No big deal. Check out what Jamie Raskin had to say in her defense.
Well, they want to give them another headline, which is that they've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing.
This Democratic delusion has to be documented and studied. I just can't believe these folks. Now they're just trying to brush it off like, it's nothing. She was just texting her constituent, one of the nastiest individuals, one of the most vile individuals, heinous criminals that we've seen in our country's history. You're just going to brush it off and say, it's no one. You don't have to worry about it. Give me a break. These folks all need to be investigated because they're probably in on it. And I want you guys to also see the leader of the Dem, Hakeem Jeffries' response when he was pressed on Miss Plaskett taking these texts from Jeffrey Epstein, the coach lessons during this hearing. Look at what he had to say. It's unbelievable.
For being here, obviously a lot of movement up on Capitol Hill today. And you heard Stacey Plaskett there. She was arguing her texts with Jeffrey Epstein were not illegal. But in your view, were they appropriate?
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute, and she's clearly and unequivocally denounced Jeffrey Epstein. And I think what the survivors fought for today is the type of transparency that came out of the House, went through the Senate, and is now on its way to Donald Trump's desk, where hopefully he'll sign it into law, because at the end of the day, all the American people are asking for is just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is why these Epstein files that Donald Trump and his administration has been hiding for months need to be released.
But do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett to discuss this issue because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Do you plan to talk to her about it?
I think that we successfully defeated a resolution that lacked any basis, was not credible, and was being brought by an individual who was trying to weaponize this issue.
As you can see, that's what Democrats do. They always deflect the question to them and always want to push it onto the other guy. She asked him multiple times, is he going to talk to her? And then multiple times he deflected what he's saying. Because the answer is no. Democrats are not going to go after Democrats. They'll go after Republicans. Because the Democrats don't care about the American people. The first Democrat vice president even said, a good black is in chains. A good American is dead. He did not care about America. Democrats don't care about American people. They care about the foreigners and the transgenders. They mainly care about the foreigners anyway. You look at all the shit they try to do, you'll see where their agenda lies. Their agenda don't lie with American people. They lie with the foreigners, the terrorists. Back to the video.
To reinvigorate his own failed gubernatorial campaign in South Carolina, it was rejected on a bipartisan basis on the floor today. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was just asking if you personally believe messaging with Jeffrey Epstein, who is at that point a registered...
Yikes. That response says everything we need to know. Hakeem, he's in on it as well. Don't let any of this fool you. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors that the Dems are trying to put out there, but we cannot forget who was a Democrat after all. It was Mr. Epstein, and it sounds like he had unanimous support from that side of the aisle. But I'll tell you who was not receiving any coaching from Jeffrey Epstein, and it's our president, Mr. Donald Trump. Look at CNN once again, because exonerating President Donald Trump of any wrongdoing when it comes to Mr. Epstein.
Capital. I want to be extremely clear and make it clear to our viewers that the president has not been accused of any wrongdoing in these emails or throughout this process. A large portion of them came before he was even in office. But it is notable that their relationship comes up again and again in these emails. Do you have questions for the president about their relationship? Does it make you at all curious about it?
Well, here's what else Jeffrey Epstein wrote. He wrote several text messages to Congresswoman Plaskett while she was sitting on the Oversight Committee in an oversight hearing about Jeffrey Epstein, and she was asking him what questions to ask Michael Cohen.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. And you know what they say, what's done in the dark must surely come to the light. That's exactly what we're seeing playing out here with these Dems, these very foolish Dems. The loonies on the left, they really believe they could point that finger and play the blame game and say this is all the Trump administration. It's President Donald Trump that was so deeply connected with Mr. Epstein. Well, the files are starting to come out. We're starting to see some leaks that are pointing to otherwise. We could see exactly what was going on behind the scenes, and it does not look good for these loonies on the left. I can't wait to see the entire files being released to the public so we can just go ahead and clear the air. Niggas, stop all this nonsense for good. And I think that's what President Donald Trump ultimately wants to see as well. He's tired of hearing about it. I mean, this is just getting, it's so old. If they had anything on President Trump, they would have released it. They would have released it a long time ago when he even spoke about running for president the second time around, when they sent all those political witch hunts at him. They would have sent this too. They would have definitely sent this too. I just don't understand how folks on the left continue to believe, be gaslit, manipulated, and lied to believe that this is actually President Donald Trump somehow connected